What's up, sports world? What's going on? It's Big Q hollering at you from the Pelican Post Game Report on the PRO Media Network. Doing a live stream for the Pelican Post Game Report. We had some issues, sound issues that we still working out here. We're still trying to get the bugs out. For whatever reason, the sound dropped out on our last video. Um, we just want to make sure we cover with you guys and stay consistent with you guys. On this podcast, we're going to cover a live stream. We're going to talk about the places where Anthony Davis could end up going. And basically, there are a few locations which Anthony Davis currently is a lot of people perceiving AD to go. If you take a look at some of the news reports that's coming out, especially with Rich Paul, who's the agent for Anthony Davis and famously for LeBron James, has released a article. He was quoting an article, pretty much saying that any team that attempts to try to trade for Anthony Davis, he will play for them for a duration of one season, which he'll fulfill his contractual obligations, then vacate into free agency, which ultimately the end game is to get the Los Angeles to team up with LeBron James. That's all he wants to do. So it comes down to it. David Griffin, who's our vice president of basketball operations, and some of the Pelican brass went out there, met with Anthony Davis last week, and tried to reach him and make him understand, listen, we're not the same Pelicans we were in the Dale Demps. We're a different organization. We have a bright future. I know what I'm doing. I have a track record of winning championships. I will assemble a team around you or with you to win a championship in New Orleans. Anthony Davis pretty much said, no, I still want to be traded. I don't care if Zion Williamson is coming. I don't care if you add a max contract player with me. I don't care that you are the vice president. I don't care if Tranger Lange is the general manager and about anything else. I want to go to Los Angeles because I want to play LeBron. You can keep it 242.2 or whatever it is, millions of dollars. You can keep it. I want to play for LeBron. I will give up a max contract so that I can go play with LeBron James. Well, there it is. Well, I mean, this wasn't a surprise. We talked about this on the prior podcast on the Pelican Post Game Report. Please subscribe, hit the notification button, and the thumbs up button for more content. We covered that. We knew there was a possibility that Anthony Davis would not change his mind, despite all of the great things that the Pelicans have done in the last several months. It should have kind of made him think about it, but obviously no. That's all, folks. That's his moniker. So regardless of that, it's time to move beyond Anthony Davis. I'm sick of hearing about it. I'm tired of hearing about Anthony Davis as being upset. It's time to trade him out, trade his ass out of here, and get assets we can rebuild the team with. Bottom line. Now let's talk about some of the trade destinations that Anthony Davis could possibly end up going to. There is the let's start with the lesser of the teams, which is the Phoenix Suns, which ultimately Phoenix wanted to put together a package revolving around not the guy that we would expect, like a Devin Booker, but or Anton, the big center. They wanted to put a package together with T.J. Warren and Josh Jackson and other role players and a few picks. Of course, that's not a deal that will work. And Phoenix is not going to trade a bunch of young assets for a 1 year rental of Anthony Davis, who's going to vacate to the West Coast. So Phoenix, in my book, is probably going to eliminate themselves out of the process. Next team, the Los Angeles Clippers. The Los Angeles Clippers decided that they were going to try to up the ante a bit. They offered the Pelicans picks players such as Gallinari, Montrezl Harrell, Lou Williams, Jerome Robinson was one of the first round draft picks, one of the younger players that the team had. And basically, they offered them everything except for Shy Alexander, the young point guard out there that has a tremendous upside. They said, yeah, man, we'll give you everything, players, picks, and everything, but we will not give him up. And I think they'll be eliminated out of the prospect, even though they play in the same building with the Lakers, even though they share the same city with the Lakers. I think they eliminated themselves. That is not a very attractive package for the Pelicans to try to look at dealing with the Clippers, in my opinion. So moving on to the next team that we have listed. If you take a look at the let's see who else is on the lines. Let's go with the New York Knicks. Now the Knicks did offer Robinson, they offered Knox, they offered the top pick, the top three. I think the Knicks on number three pick or something like that, and picks into the future for Anthony Davis, which the Knicks package is actually a pretty decent package if you take a look at it, because it gives the Pelicans a starting center. They give them Knox, which would fit well next to Zion Williamson. He's an emerging young talent. But the Knicks, I don't know if the Knicks would be ballsy enough to trade for Anthony Davis for a 1 year rental. They're still trying to get Kevin Durant there, who just hurt himself again. Shame to say how that will play itself out in the free agency because he won't be healthy enough to do anything in free agency. He has to undergo surgery and rehabilitation before he comes back out. Clay Thompson is also hurt for the offseason, so that takes one of the top off guards off the market as well. He probably would end up re-signing the contract. Who knows? Kevin Durant can ultimately opt in signing the contract to stay with Golden State for a big amount of money, and Clay Thompson can max out. So that would take two really supreme offensive pieces or players off of the free agency wire by Durant moving out, and that's who they were looking for. Now, Kyrie Irving's still up there, but they're getting interest from Brooklyn. So what I'm saying about the Knicks is it's getting less and less because the only way you Anthony Davis would want to go to New York is to go there with another star. It don't make any sense to want to go up there by yourself and play. The Pelicans are better than the Knicks right now. So why would you leave one team to go to a lesser team? That makes no sense. But a lot of stuff that Anthony Davis is doing doesn't make any sense. So it might be in line with what he's doing. Other teams, the Brooklyn Nets, some people have to actually consider and look at the Brooklyn Nets as a possible team, to be quite honest with you. The Brooklyn Nets could be a team that actually gives you an opportunity to get some good picks. Now, Carlos Levert and Jared Allen, you have guys like that. You got possibly DeAndre Russell involved in it. So they have some very exciting pieces and picks as well that can really that's intriguing. Brooklyn is a really intriguing team. Now, it could be something between Brooklyn and the Pelicans. Remember, the former assistant general manager is now our general manager. Speaking to Tranger Langdon, so he knows these players inside and out. So he could be in the ear of Dave Griffin, David Griffin, right now, talking. Well, what you think about the Brooklyn Nets package? Well, I like Brooklyn. Now, Jared Allen's an emerging talent. He'll come in here. He'll be an excellent center that can run the court. Carlos Levert is an excellent upcoming player. He give you double digit scoring. He's a versatile player. Then you got D'Angelo Russell. Imagine D'Angelo Russell, big guard who can score playing next to Drew Holiday, and then Zion Williamson, then whatever else you want to chuck in there. So he's in the air, and definitely, if you think about it, he knows the Brooklyn Nets package. Whether or not David Griffin will go with that is the thing. All right, now let's move to the two top teams, to be honest with you, that's at the top of it. We're going to start with the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, I say the Lakers because I think that's the second best of the all of the packages offered. Even though Brooklyn has an intriguing package, if you look at what the Lakers are offering, basically the same package that Magic Johnson, when he was the general manager, offered Dale Demps when he was the general manager of the Pelicans. Basically, the same package minus Kyle Kuzma, which I don't think will fly. Griffin knows that the Lakers, led by Rob Pelinka now as the general manager. He took he's been a general manager, uh, but Pelinka now is like, I'll give you everything, picks players except for LeBron James and Kyle Kuzma. Kyle Kuzma is our future. I want to hold on to him. That's stupid. The only reason why he will offer that out there is because he knows he got Rich Paul working for him in terms of forcing deals to happen to just the Lakers. So that's why you get a lot of teams that will draw back star power because of what the talk is now. So the trade is like, I'm trying to compose a trade. And I got Rich Paul running this freaking mouth saying that he won't play for he'll play for you for 1 year and then he'll vacate. So you can give up your players and picks at all. He didn't even have to say that. Only thing he could say, wherever Anthony goes, he was going to honor his 1 year. Why would you need to throw in there that that if he goes to your team, don't be mad. Don't blame Rich Paul if you lose your assets because we already told you that he's going to Los Angeles, going to the Lakers. Why would you even need to throw that in there? That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. And you got the vice president and the general manager working on trying to create a trade that'll be the best for the team. Then you got this fool out here running around messing up the deal and querying the deal in between teams that is okay. They're removing leverage from the Pelicans. So you'll see teams like Boston remove Jason Tatum off the thing, and they'll try to starve the Pelicans out. You know, the Pels are forced now. Dave Griffin did give a timetable between now and the draft, which is June the 20th. So it's interesting to see whether or not these teams are going to just hold on to the pieces that they want to hold on to and force the Pelicans to take whatever they're offering. Think about that for a second, because that can happen thanks to this foolishness with Rich Paul, who needs to shut his mouth and go somewhere, go run off and go do whatever you need to do, and leave the trade matters to the general managers. They're trying to move the guy up out of here. You're trying to move the guy up out of here and get the best that we could possibly get to him. Now, outside of that, the package, like the Saints, basically the same package that was offered before, minus Kyle Kuzma. Jason Hart's thrown in there. They got multiple first round draft picks from this year going into the future that can help build capital for the Pelicans. And as well as so on. So my mentality is that I don't want to trade him to LA because number one is he wants to go to LA. I ain't gonna trade him where you want to go. That's number one. Number two, that's in the Western Conference. I don't like that. I don't want to see Anthony Davis more than two times in the season if I got to trade for him. I would do just like San Antonio did, package him up, send him up. Did San Antonio did with DeRozan and Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard. He sent him to Toronto to play for the Raptors in the East, and he only had to see him a couple of times a season. That's better than sending him to a Western Conference team that they have to play four times. Just being honest with you. That's just a smart move. Then let's move on to Boston now. Now, Boston is the key piece. Boston's always been the perennial team at the top. This is not any surprise right here. We always knew Boston that for a whole entire year, they've been stockpiling picks and players so that they can get ready to run at Anthony Davis. They had stories that broke a year ago about Danny Ainge, what he was doing. Everybody knew what he was doing. Everybody, whether you choose to believe it or not, he was stockpiling picks for a reason. Why would you be stockpiling picks in the future? Danny Ainge's philosophy is to win now. He'll get talent now. But his thing is to win now and compete now. He's not a guy that like, well, we're gonna keep stockpiling picks and building. No, no, we win right now, then we add a few picks here. We use it as leverage. If we need to trade to accrue a player to get him here and add to what we got, we'll do it. That's the Danny Ainge way. It's worked but well. And he's a gunslinger. He shoots from the hip. So that's why I like Danny Ainge and what he's doing. He's going to continue to try to make sure Boston is a perennial winner. He has absolutely no bones about it. He's got championships on his ring. If he pulls off a trade and gets Anthony Davis to Boston, and Boston takes Anthony Davis along, and that's enough to bring Kyrie Irving back. Even if Irving doesn't come back and they get Terry Rozier along with him, and then add a few pieces during free agency or what have you, Boston can still compete. But the reality of the day is, are you a person that was as ballsy as the general manager for the Toronto Raptors that knew by shipping DeRozan out and getting Kawhi Leonard in, knowing that he wanted to go to California, that you can ultimately get fired in the piece? Now, look how it worked out. Toronto wins his first championship with him at the Stewart, and now you got teams like the Washington Wizards that's offering him $10 million a year as a general manager and ownership stake in the business. Isn't that awesome? That's the fortune favors the bold. Remember that, folks. The fortune always favors the bold, not the meek, not the non-bold, not the scary, but fortune favors the bold. Guys that's willing to pull it on the line to ensure success. So big ups to Toronto, by the way, who won their first championship. And that should be inspiration for other teams that have not won championships, namely the Pelicans, that if Toronto can do it, we most certainly can do it as well. Now, going back to the Boston and Pelican connection, if the Pelicans do make the trade, the only issue is Boston currently is not offering Jason Tatum. Now, that could change in the next few days. The next several days, it could change. But right now, they're not offering Jason Tatum. They're offering Jalen Brown. And I've seen trades where they have Marcus Smart and Tatum and picks, and as always, but any trade that comes along with any trade that has to go between Boston and the Pelicans have to involve Jason Tatum without a shadow of a doubt. Without a shadow of a doubt. And Marcus Smart. And I wouldn't mind having Jalen Brown, to be honest with you. But whether Brown is in or out of trade, it really doesn't matter as long as we have the multiple picks, because they have several picks in the draft this year. Boston is a couple multiple first rounders. They have the Memphis pick. So if the Pelicans can accrue two first round draft picks this year, maybe one in the future, and then get Jason Tatum, Marcus Smart. Perhaps they throw Jalen Brown in, one of the backup role players, centers. Williams, the center prospect that I really like him, a guy that can run up and down the court, shot block, aggressive. We could really use a guy like him. And to me, that is the best package you go. We do not trade him to the Lakers. I don't think you do that. Let him get to the Lakers through free agency. I will not help the process. And I'm not hating on him. I'm just saying, as a team, as a small team, and trust and believe, David Griffin, when it's all said and done, they're going to ship Anthony Davis to Boston for Jason Tatum in the package that they're offering. They will not send him to LA. Even if LA offers Kyle Kuzma, I'm still thinking Griff is a smart general manager. He's just using that as leverage, that deal against what Boston's doing, and say, listen, they about to offer me Kyle Kuzma and everything I want. Can you give me Tatum and you get to Anthony Davis? So if Danny Ainge says, listen, we'll give you Tatum, we'll give you the picks, we'll give you, all the other role players we mentioned, that trade should get done between now and before the draft. So don't be surprised. You heard it here, folks, first, folks, that Anthony Davis is going to be a Boston Celtic at least for 1 year. At least for 1 year. So where will Anthony Davis go? Boston is the name. So that's the name of the video. And I answered it quite bluntly. Boston is where Anthony Davis goes as we'll get Jason Tatum. So I like to end the live stream there. Thank you guys for joining us today on the live stream, the Pelican Post Game Report live stream. Hit the thumbs up and subscribe button. Hit the thumbs up, the subscribe button, and to hit the notification button for future content, as we'll be doing live stream shows like this only on our YouTube page. We will not be doing them on our Spreaker. We will not be sharing them on our big page, the PRO Media Network page. This is exclusively a live stream dedicated to the Pelican Post Game Report YouTube channel that we offer here. So you have to be a subscriber to get this live content as well. So from me and the crew here at the PRO Media Network, thank y'all for joining us on the Pelican Post Game Report. Stay tuned. Peace.